Everyone, I'm just waiting for the presentation to upload.
Yeah. Hello everyone, good afternoon. Yeah, hope you are doing well. I welcome you to the STC uh, ARS session meeting. Myself, Navina, coordinating as a session chair for the session. Yeah, Michael, yeah, you can now present your topic.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's got a video demo, so it's a little big. It's just taking a while to upload.
Michael, you are sharing your screen or you are waiting?
The PowerPoint is still uploading. Okay, I think because of the video file, it's taking forever. I'm going to just strip that real quick and then re-upload. Apologies, everyone. Oh, here, just as I say that. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Michael, Master's in Cybersecurity, or Master's in Science Cybersecurity student at the school. For the capstone, my advisor was Dr. Patrick Ofer. And today I'll be presenting on a fascinating subject, consolidating vulnerability data feeds for a comprehensive management program. But before we dive into the details, let me expend a little cybersecurity humor here. So why was a cybersecurity expert always single? That's because rather than being open about our vulnerabilities, we're too busy patching them. All right. Please excuse my dad humor. Now let's move on to the critical aspect of cybersecurity that this project addresses, and again, that's vulnerability management. So here's the agenda. We'll kind of go through these pretty fast, hopefully get the demo working, and then end with any questions. So I work for the city of Everett, and they face a challenge that plagues many organizations. That's fragmented vulnerability data that's scattered across multiple siloed systems. This obscures the full scope of risks and complicates the prioritization of the remediation efforts me and my team take. So imagine trying to protect a castle, but you only know about the holes in the north wall while the south wall is wide open. This isn't ideal. This project aims to create an automated system to consolidate all the data into one piece, and then build a complete up-to-date list of risks, make intelligent decisions about what to tackle first, and have dazzling dashboards to track our progress. In doing so, I want to make vulnerability management less of a headache. My motivation behind this project stems from the alarming statistics around cyber threats, with 44% of cyber attacks against municipalities involving ransomware, and just a third of them considering their vulnerability management programs actually effective. There's a need for robust vulnerability management practices. Organizations can bridge the gap between IT and security teams by centralizing vulnerability data, automating essential processes, and streamlining patching efforts. Effective vulnerability management is crucial to reducing a cybersecurity exposure. Again, organizations face challenges due to the multitude of vulnerability inputs kind of getting lost in the noise. This hinders our ability to understand what our security posture is. It additionally leads to inefficiencies and suboptimal decision making. This lack of integration between security tools and the absence of a centralized view further compounds the issue. And while commercial vulnerability management platforms do exist, Tenable is an example, they often come at high costs and lack the flexibility to adapt to the unique needs of a resource-constrained municipality. Like for instance, I'm a team of one, and we have 1,200 seats in our organization. There's a lot of work for me to do. Oops, went too fast. Numerous studies have investigated the challenges posed by the fragmentation of the vulnerability data and explored potential solutions. Researchers have applied big data analytic techniques to process and analyze these vast amounts of vulnerability data from various sources, enabling the identification of patterns, trends, and correlations. The approach helps organizations make more informed decisions regarding their risk prioritization and then follow on remediation strategies. Moreover, the studies have emphasized the importance of automating these workflows for collating, assessing, and tracking the vulnerabilities in order to streamline processes. This will help reduce the burden on the security teams and help automate the data collection, risk scoring, and remediation tracking. Another key aspect highlighted is significance of risk-based prioritization. Different researchers have proposed various risk scoring methodologies that consider vulnerability severity, likelihood of exploitation, potential impacts on business operations, and then the criticality of affected assets. By prioritizing vulnerabilities based on these risk factors, we can allocate resources more effectively and address the most pressing security issues first. Despite the availability of commercial vulnerability management platforms, finding affordable and customizable solutions that cater to our needs at the city still remains a challenge. That gap in the market has driven the need for innovative approaches that leverage low-code tools and open source technologies to create a tailored solution for us. In that, my approach revolves around, again, leveraging these low-code tools to expedite development, reduce cost, and enhance adaptability. If you're not familiar with low-code, this is kind of drag and drop programming. While there are inevitable trade-offs to consider, such as potentially limited support or increased integration efforts, I think the benefits far outweigh the drawbacks. By embracing this framework, I can create a solution that aligns perfectly with our needs at the city and tap into a vibrant community of innovators online while maintaining complete transparency below and above my line of effort. To bring this vision to life, we'll harness Power Microsoft's ecosystem, employing Power Automate for seamless data integration, Power Apps for crafting user-friendly dashboards and front end, SharePoint initially as our data repository, PowerShell for some automating of APIs, and GitHub for collaboration and version control. I think it's a winning combination that plays to the strengths of each tool and doesn't cost the city anything other than my time. We're basically using what we have. So the data collection process involves ingesting information from various sources, including MDR reports, vendor reports, scans from a vendor we have, Microsoft Defender alerts and vulnerabilities, threat intelligence feeds from MS-ISAC, and front-end vulnerability scans we have conducted by CISA. This included sorting the data to identify critical vulnerabilities witnessed on servers, endpoints, and applications. I'll note that the collection process, while done here, is going to remain continual. And the key to success lies in automating that, eliminating the need for tedious manual input, which is what we've been doing. After all, I can't patch the holes in the wall in the castle while repelling those attacks. So my analysis yielded several noteworthy findings. We identified critical vulnerabilities with a high CVSS score, indicating the need for prompt remediation. Additionally, we discovered a prevalence of outdated software versions and misconfigurations, emphasizing the importance of regular patching and configuration management. Many things to manage. To provide a clear roadmap of remediation efforts, I mapped out the distribution of vulnerabilities across different departments and systems, allowing us to prioritize areas that required the most attention based on the factors such as, again, the system criticality, sensitivity, and potential impact. I quickly learned in this process that effective communication is vital to driving action. You can't just be the security guy telling everyone what to do. I work closely with the application and network teams, as well as IT leadership, to facilitate understanding and decision-making. This led to the creation of a risk matrix, enabling an overall grasp of our current security posture and allow us to track progress over time. This was all written out in an SOP that tells people what they need to do, when to do it, and who's responsible. So it turns out Everett is dealing with an array of risks. High severity bugs, remote code execution seems to be the ultimate hacker's delight, and software sold that may as well be collecting social security. While we have excelled at mitigating things for like Log4j and zero-day exploits on our mobile devices, we have not been so diligent in moving past deprecated and insecure protocols such as SSL 2.0 and 3.0 on our management interfaces. That's now mitigated, don't worry. So armed with this knowledge, I can develop targeted remediation strategies, prioritizing the most critical issue and ensuring efficient resource allocation. Patching the castle walls is a continuous process. So let's recap. By using low-code tools to consolidate vulnerability data, Everett is flipping the script on cyber risk management. What once was fragmented and opaque process is now streamlined, transparent, and driven by actionable intelligence. The convergence of the IT and security teams and data-driven decision-making positions the city to proactively address vulnerabilities and fortify its cyber defenses. The journey isn't done. To truly excel in this field, I must continue to expand my knowledge and skills. I need to explore advanced APIs, mastering more data visualization techniques to put in reports. Honing the automation capabilities will also be key to staying ahead of an ever-evolving threat landscape. And as you see in the demo, it's an initial effort on an application. I didn't meet all the goals, but that'll come in time after I graduate. Before we push that fully into production. We have a working scape, but could use some polish. So by embracing a mindset of continuous learning and improvement, we'll safeguard Everett's assets. And then next will be the demo. Okay, I'm going to take over automation. It seems like there's some skipping on that video. Apologies. So what happened is that I was showing how we uploaded a pre-formatted table into there. Behind, you're seeing this connection for the API calls to Defender. But it's pulling that, dumping it in a table that's then uploaded through an automated workflow to pull that out and then put that row by row into a SharePoint list. This is the script that was developed, PowerShell script, to kind of pull that and then parse it and rename certain values. And let's skip to the end. So there's some key references I want to touch on real quick. The project's approach aligns with some findings of Jarvis et al., who emphasize the importance of vulnerability exposure, driven intelligence in smart cities. Additionally, the second one, Millette, she highlighted the significance of cybersecurity capabilities in achieving critical infrastructure resilience. And then Palini stressed the value of an integrated methodological approach to leveraging human factors in cybersecurity, principle that was incorporated through the user-friendly tools and automated workflows. So with that, thank you for your attention and opportunity to present the project. I hope you found the information at least slightly insightful. Again, vulnerability management isn't sexy. The demo, I can apologize for the tech hap on that, I think, but I'll be happy to share that with anyone if they want it. With that, does anyone have any questions?
Thank you, Michael, for presenting the topic. I have one question. What challenges did organization face when attempting for the consolidate vulnerability data fits and how they overcome them?
I'll speak because I was basically the organization. It was mostly the lack of technical skill, specifically to these. I can write PowerShell all day, but interacting with some of these advanced features that Power Automate provides. For instance, you can script through a PDF file and pull out only certain information. There's a lot of late night learning. So what helped was pulling different resources together online, kind of like watching YouTube videos or learning through some of the Microsoft documentation or other documentation available, and then experimenting and working with team members that have like or similar apps made.
Michael, I have a question. You mentioned that you are a team of one. Okay. Obviously, you have to decide which holes in the castle wall you're going to plug. How do you determine where to start?
So we start by basically saying, well, there's so much, we'll just be concerned with the criticals, and then we'll look at what systems they're impacting. If it's line of business applications, for instance, those will rise to the cream of the top, and then from that, it's how soon can we do that? We want to start small so that we can get ahead of some of this and then work on the more significant issues.
Okay. And then how far are you? If you had to do a percentage of how much work you've achieved or accomplished to this point, where are you in your workload?
That's kind of hard to say because, again, this is not going to be stopping here. It's kind of continual. I would say off the initial ones we actioned, we've gotten through, in terms of mitigation, like 80, 90% of that. In terms of where I want this application to be, or this that's going to be, because we're not automating the mitigations or the remediations, I should say. I'm just automating the data collection and then putting it in front of eyes to make decisions. That application is, I would say, in an alpha stage. There's a couple things I got to get. I got to shift off SharePoint, move it into Power, like a Dataverse, so that I can modify the data a little more appropriately. And then that will attach to our ticketing system where we're running these remediation assignments through. That's yeah. So a little bit there. I'm about 50% done on that.
And what will the next iteration look like once you get through this? Because as you pointed out, this is cyclical.
Mm-hmm.
So based on what you're learning through this iteration, what do you see as your next step in your professional role?
We will be decreasing the amount of criticals and can start focusing on so a lot of the low and medium stuff is all basically just updating applications and they're largely their dependencies. Trying to get ahead of that. What can it?
Mm-hmm.
There is a side of us that do in-house applications that I don't understand their full workflow. When you speak to kind of supply chain management and the vulnerabilities therein, that is ultimately this is all to improve our score with our cyber liability insurance provider and keep our costs down because it keeps the taxpayers' costs down.
Okay. Over coffee, I want to talk to you about your cyber liability with your insurer, but I'm sure someone else has a question, so I'll stop.
Cool. Well, once again, thank you for your time. And I give Lakshmi the floor.
Yeah, now I welcome Lakshmi to present your capstone project. Lakshmi, you can share your screen.
Hello everyone, my name is Lakshmi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on.
Yes.
Okay,
We can hear you.
Thank you. Yes, and welcome everyone. And happy Pi Day. Today is March 14th. So yeah, so let's start. My name is Lakshmi Palaniappan. My capstone research project is cybersecurity vulnerabilities in the aviation industry. My advisor is Dr. Patrick Offer. Here is the agenda for today. So we will look at them. Like all industries, the aviation industry is adopting emerging technologies like machine learning and development of autonomous aircraft. Hence, the aviation industry's cybersecurity risk management has become more complex and has to find ways to address these. In this talk, we are going to see a lot of examples on various cybersecurity vulnerability attacks that are very common to aviation industry. If an attack were to happen, what defense mechanisms are in place and how can it be improved for future? Due to hyper-connected and integrated aviation infrastructure, there is a great need for coordination and collaboration among stakeholders, regulators, airlines, and technology providers. The aviation industry is experiencing significant cybersecurity exposures and vulnerabilities such as ransomware attacks, phishing, distributed denial of service attacks, and data breaches. What do each of these terms mean? Let's look at them one by one. Ransomware is a form of malware that prevents or restricts user from accessing their system unless a ransom is paid in exchange for decryption or threaten to release the stolen data. Ransomware attacks remain a persistent threat in the aviation industry. With its mission-critical systems and time-sensitive operations, a ransomware attack can be devastating, causing massive operational disruptions, financial losses, and potential safety risks. Here are a few examples that happen to the world's largest aerospace manufacturers, defense contractors, and airlines. The Boeing company and the Belgian aerospace supplier Sabina Engineering got hacked by Lockbit ransomware. The Dixon team encrypted AirAsia's database and shared the personal information of airline passengers and staff on the dark web. SpiceJet, a low-cost airline and the second largest in India, was hit with a ransomware attack, and hundreds of passengers got stranded at the airports, and several flights had to be cancelled. Phishing is a form of social engineering attack where attackers deceive people into revealing sensitive information, gaining access to critical systems or sensitive data. Here are a few examples where major airlines suffered by phishing attacks. American Airlines discovered employee email accounts were compromised and gained access to sensitive personal information through phishing attack. Two airline travel booking service employees who had access to global distribution system got targeted by phishing emails that requested their login credentials. Using the stolen credentials, Eric Donner Simeo, also known as Michael Collins, a Cameroon citizen, issued $2 million worth of plane tickets to himself and sold it for a fraction of the actual cost to the customers in West Africa. A data breach exposes confidential, sensitive, or protected information to an unauthorized person. Airlines have significant private and confidential data of their passengers, such as location and payment details. Here are few examples where major airlines suffered by data breach attacks. Cybercriminals used a fraudulent web resource to steal personal data information from air tickets of 500,000 passengers, and British Airways was fined £183 million in 2018 for a data breach. In the same 2018 timeframe, the Hong Kong air carrier Cathay Pacific was also subjected to a cyber attack, as a result of which the part of the passport data of 9.4 million people were leaked. In June 2023, American Airlines and Southwest Airlines suffered data breach when the third party's recruitment software got hacked for 8,000 pilot and cadet applications. A distributed denial of service attack occurs when multiple systems flood the network with requests and make the network's resource unavailable to its intended users temporarily or indefinitely. Here are few examples that happen to the world's largest airports. The nation's largest airport websites were attacked by Killnet, a pro-Russian hacker group, using distributed denial of service attack that caused problems, chaos, and confusion, and took down the public-facing web domains that report airport wait times and congestion. Jefferson, a wholly owned Boeing subsidiary that provides navigation and flight planning tools, confirmed that it is dealing with a cybersecurity incident, experiencing technical issues with processing of current and new notice to air missions, which alert pilots of potential hazards along the flight route. Considering the scope and the time of the study, we employed a case study approach because it is the most suitable for the study. The collective case study approach provides a chance to collect information on strategies and methods on how AI is used in other industries and hypothesize on how these techniques are applicable to the aviation industry. In the following slides, I will provide specific examples on how AI is used in financial, healthcare, education, manufacturing, and defense industries, and how these techniques can be adopted to aviation industry to be more resilient. The aviation industry can learn best practices from other industries and apply them in a way that is appropriate for the unique needs posed by the aviation. The first approach is to use AI to scan the entire code to find anomalies before integrating commercial software. In healthcare domains, AI has been successfully used to identify and inventory health information in modern systems instead of relying on rule-based systems to protect the privacy and the security of users and patient records from malware. The aviation industry can use similar methods to preemptively identify vulnerabilities, rectify the issues, and ultimately make informed decisions regarding software integration. The second approach is to use AI tools to detect phishing. Students use their smartphones to store personal information such as photos, videos, bank accounts, and confidential documents, and conduct transactions in their mobile devices using free and insecure public networks. To protect the student phones from phishing attacks and information leakage, An application called Android Protect based on neural network models was implemented. Google also developed an AI-based filter system that automatically blocks malicious emails and web pages for its users. AI can be similarly used by the aviation industry to enable its employees to protect themselves from phishing. The third approach is to use cloud AI services to guard against data breach. Other industries rely on cloud AI services to proactively monitor and detect threats, vulnerabilities, or malicious activities on their network. One such manufacturing industry is Coach Industries. They use Drago's platform on AWS to fortify its cybersecurity defenses and avoid security threats on their manufacturing operations and prevent loss of revenue and intellectual property. Aviation industry can use cloud-based IT service models to proactively monitor and detect threats on their network that might bring the production line to a full stop. It is also a great fit for airlines as IoT can transmit maintenance and safety in real time to the ground crew, which improves performance and security for the airline. The fourth approach is to use AI for resilience against distributed denial of service attacks. Defense industries use IoT devices in their production lines whose sensors and actuators provide various data in real time when the machine learning algorithm detected DDoS attacks. IoT-inspired smart airports can also use such a solution to increase their resiliency. IBM's Transfer and Supply Chain initiative helps many industries use AI to optimize supply chain operations for efficiency, predict demand, adapt to market changes, and shorten critical supply chain disruptions management from days to just hours. The aviation supply chain involves numerous entities, including aircraft manufacturers, component suppliers, maintenance and repair organizations, and software providers. The aviation industry can adopt such proven supply chain AI solutions to predict the demand of an alternate supplier due to cyber threats and shorten the supply chain disruptions. The fifth approach is to use AI to enforce international standards. With modern air transport equipped with more and more sophisticated equipment, making it even more dependent on digital systems, cyber threats pose a real threat to aviation today. AI has been successfully used in the healthcare industry to enforce patient protection and in financial industry to identify cases of money laundering. In the aviation industry, AI can be used to implement these various rules and regulations, standards and defense plan to solidify the security posture and increase information sharing and communication. When it comes to cyber attacks, prevention is the first line of defense, followed by detection and reaction. AI has been successfully used by other industries to detect the most common vulnerabilities, and these can be used by aviation industries to positively improve their cybersecurity posture. In some cases, they are already being employed in aviation industry, but more investments such as these will help aviation industry to be more cyber resilient. Malware reduction. An aviation manufacturer has partnered with Spark Cognition to use their AI-powered endpoint protection software Deep Armor to detect and block zero-day malware attacks. Phishing detection. Lufthansa Airlines employed cloud-based detonation platforms to test malicious files that come in via email, thereby reducing the risk of harm to the live environment. Data breach avoidance. Thales, Honeywell, and Collins Aerospace have been developing a flight deck security system that provides information, guidance, warnings, or alarms to pilots or crew members on how to detect and respond to data breach. Guarding supply chain against DDoS attacks. Automatic dependent surveillance broadcast, which gives the pilot the ability to see the thunderstorms and other aircraft in close proximity, does not support encryption. Hence, the Federal Aviation Administration devised methods to identify false broadcast packets and compare it to the recently received packet to verify its authenticity. Standards and regulatory compliance. IATA and ICAO have been working to develop OneID, an integrated IAM solution that brings together biometrics, electronic boarding passes, and travel visas into a single form of digital travel document that virtually eliminates mobile or paper-based alternatives. In this study, we chose a case study approach rather than a qualitative or a quantitative approach because the number of organizations that would respond to a survey about their cybersecurity measures is likely to be very small, and we did not have the budget to do the interviews with the experts. In addition, because of how new the subject is, there is no much academic literature on this subject. AI and ML technologies are still evolving, and organizations are finding ways to detect vulnerabilities. Another approach to reducing the significant limitations of this work would have been to work with an organization that focuses on detecting and protecting from cyber attacks, but that was also not a possibility for the study due to the time and other practical constraints. Therefore, interpretation of the results have been slowly based on our analysis of a small number of case studies from other industries that happen to have been reported upon in their academic literature. The study showed that aviation industries can use AI to preemptively identify vulnerabilities, rectify the issues, and ultimately make informed decisions. Aviation industries can use AI to scan parts to preemptively identify the quality of the part and if it is installed correctly in the aircraft to avoid the Alaska Airlines Flight 1282 accident when a mid-exit door plug separated from a 7379 fuselage shortly after takeoff. The aviation industry's supply chain is vast and interconnected. Using the emerging technologies such as cloud, blockchain, and Internet of Things, and AI to prevent, identify, and respond to disruptions. And finally, organizations in the aviation industry should explore whether deployment of targeted AI capabilities will positively improve cybersecurity posture and effectiveness. AI can significantly improve the efficiency, safety, and profitability of the aviation industry. Adapting AI requires collaboration between stakeholders in the aviation industry to ensure that the technology is developed and implemented in a safe, responsible, and ethical manner. In conclusion, use AI to detect malware and phishing, avoid data breach, guard the supply chain against DDoS attacks, and enforce regulatory compliance standards can help guard against cyber threats in aviation industry. In digital landscape, harnessing the power of AI along with humans, establishing a global platform for knowledge sharing and collaboration can pave the way towards a safer, secure digital future. I invite you all to read my paper to have a clearer picture of the problem and the solutions provided to get more insight. And these are the references. Thanks, everyone, and time for questions.
Thank you, Lakshmi, for the presentation. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you.
There's a question in the chat.
Okay, let me check. Okay, where can I read your paper? I think it should be published somewhere within the university. Does anyone know? I have no idea.
Navina, is there a way of putting a link to her paper through the video and it could be hosted on the website? Would that work?
No idea, Markham. I'll reach out to Asya.
We can look at that.
I can
Lakshmi,
also
go
email
ahead.
paper.
Lakshmi, could you explain how this is going to be integrated into the work that you're doing for Boeing now into your current position?
My current position is not on cybersecurity. I am on IAM, like authentication and authorization. So basically, currently, we are using cloud platforms to do the authentication and authorization for our softwares, basically, and for all the people who can access and who cannot access and such. So that's where we are moving towards right now.
So have you made this paper available to other departments over at Boeing? Or will you?
I don't know. I had to ask my manager if anybody will be interested in reading this or where to publish it within Boeing. I have not explored that one yet.
I would like to follow along with you to see how this is received,
Okay.
because it's very troubling, and I mean, it's an issue.
Yeah.
I guess another question that I have, and I'm not sure, I saw your applications in terms of ransomware and using the AI to detect those issues. I'm wondering if it's being used for communication systems and control systems to protect those.
Probably, because like when I was reading through like a bunch of like research papers, I came across few of them where they were like trying to implement something as like they were trying to like create some kind of an application that can help with that.
Well, thank you. That might warrant a good conversation post-graduation.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Navina?
No, Morgan, it's good. Yeah. Congratulations, Michael and Lakshmi, for your capstone and graduation. Yeah, all the best for your future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.